Roberto Mancini is one of the most successful Italian managers of his generation. He won in Italy, he won in England. And when his country needed him the most, he brought Italy back to the top of Europe. For a moment, Roberto Mancini was a national hero. But football can change everything very quickly, because what happened next completely changed the way Italy looked at him. Welcome to Football After 90 Minutes. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is how Roberto Mancini lost an entire nation's trust. Chapter number 1, The Conqueror. As a player, he helped Sampdoria win their first Serie A title in the club's history. At Lazio, he lifted another Scudetto after a 26-year wait. He would become just as successful as a manager, slowly building one of the greatest resumes in modern Italian football. At Inter, he ended Juventus' dominance, brought the Scudetto back to Milan, and built a dynasty that won 3 consecutive league titles. At Manchester City, they won a Premier League after 44 years. And with the Italian national team, he ended a 53-year drought for a European title, leading a team that few expected to become champions. By 2021, Mancini had earned the trust of an entire nation. Less than 2 years later, he will begin to lose it. Chapter number 2, The Downfall. 24th of March 2022, Stadio Renzo Barbera, Palermo. 90 minutes separated Italy from another World Cup. After finishing second behind Switzerland in the qualifying group, the Azzurri had one final chance to reach Qatar 2022. Only North Macedonia stood between Italy and the playoff final against CR7's Portugal. Wave after wave, Italy attacked. 30 shots, 65% of possession, 16 corners, but they couldn't find the break. Then, in the 92nd minute, everything changed. Alexander Trajkovski's goal sent North Macedonia through, silencing Palermo and the entire Italian nation for the second consecutive time. Italy had failed to qualify for the World Cup, this time with Roberto Mancini in charge. The man who had conquered Europe suddenly became the man blamed for the second consecutive World Cup miss. The criticism was relentless, but FIGC president Gabriele Gravina ignored the criticism and stood by Mancini. Gravina pointed to Jorginho's 2 missed penalties against Switzerland, one in each game, home and away, as the key reason Italy had been forced into the playoffs in the first place. Results after that improved just enough to make many believe Italy was finally back on track. Then came the news that nobody expected. Mancini resigned. While on vacation, communicating to the FIGC his resignation through a certified electronic mail. Italy was still in the early stage of its Euro 2024 qualifying campaign, and the federation that had stood by Mancini, even after the World Cup disaster, suddenly found itself without a manager. But the resignation itself wasn't what completely destroyed the relationship between Mancini and Italian football fans, because only 2 weeks later, Roberto Mancini was announced as the new head coach of Saudi Arabia, signing a 4-year deal worth 100 million euros. And suddenly, his resignation looked very different. But there was more. According to a report by the Italian newspaper Il Fatto Quotidiano, negotiations between Mancini and Saudi Arabia hadn't started after he left Italy. They had reportedly begun in June 2022, 2 months before his resignation. That revelation cast an entirely different shadow over Mancini's final months with the national team. Now, Italian fans were furious because Mancini had already been planning his next move while he was still their national team coach. Mancini strongly defended himself. In a later interview, he claimed that one of the reasons he had remained after the 2022 World Cup failure was because the federation itself had asked him to stay, despite him wanting to resign. By then, the damage had already been done. The man who had once brought Italy together had lost the trust of much of the country. Mancini's time in Saudi Arabia would end abruptly. After losing to South Korea on penalties in the Asian Cup round of 16, he was sacked just over a year into his contract. And at that point, Mancini's story with the Italian national team seemed over. But football has a strange way of bringing stories back to where they began. Because against all expectations, Roberto Mancini found his way back to Italy. The federation's new president, Giovanni Malagon, had decided to trust him, giving Mancini the Italian head coaching job back. That was the easy part. Winning back the trust of an entire nation would be his greatest challenge yet. This was football after 90 minutes.